All right, folks, we're going to do something a little bit different for the notes today. We'll start the same way. We're going to go ahead and put our name, our number, and the title. This is still part of Module 3 notes. But instead of showing you a brand new procedure or a new strategy, we're going to kind of take some of what we've learned and we're going to practice doing some word problems together. I'm going to give you 2 word problems. Okay. Let's take a look at them together. Let's just label this 3-10. We'll call it word problem practice. So far this year, we have spent a lot of time on algorithms and calculation strategies. We haven't spent nearly enough time talking about word problems and working through them, so we're going to try to remedy that. We're going to spend a little more time on that, especially as we start moving into the second semester and we're getting ready for your end of the year tests. You're going to definitely want to be able to do this. So, excuse me. Let's start with problem number 1. And you are going to do some writing. Okay. 4.5 yards of cloth. 4.5 yards of cloth are needed to make a woman's dress. So this will be an adult size dress, basically. 4.5 yards of cloth are needed to make a woman's dress. Okay. So we've already got some important information there. We're going to hang on to that. 2 2/7 yards of cloth are needed to make a girl's dress, so a child size. Almost there. Okay. Now, the question asks, how much more cloth is needed for a woman's dress? Okay. And obviously you pause the video and take as much time as you need to copy that. I normally don't like making you write an entire word problem, but I think in this case it's good because it really forces us to slow down a little bit and look at each part of this. 4.5 yards of cloth are needed to make a woman's dress. Now, we can mark this up, we can do a lot of things. Basically what we want to do is look for what we know, what information is provided. Okay. Well, we know that a woman's dress needs 4.5 yards of cloth. Okay. We also know, that a girl's dress takes 2 2/7 yards. So they give us 2 very clear pieces of information. How much cloth do you need for a woman's dress? How much cloth do you need for a girl's dress? We don't really know what we're going to do with this information yet. We just know that we have it. Now the question, and this one's nice because it is a question. Sometimes obviously it's not. Sometimes it'll just be a statement. It'll tell you to do something. In this case, though, it does ask, how much more cloth is needed for a woman's dress? You always want to look for those clue words, those clue phrases, those things that tell you what operation we're going to be using. Are we going to add, subtract, multiply, divide? Whenever you see how much more, and I'm going to underline that. In fact, I'm going to double underline that. How much more? That should be leading you in one particular direction, and many of you are probably thinking it already. How much more cloth is needed for a woman's dress? How much more? When I'm talking about how much more, I'm trying to compare the two numbers. I am trying to find the difference between them. I am trying to subtract. And a lot of you are at home screaming, I know, I said that like 30 seconds ago. Good. Now, for right now in 5th grade, I know you always like to ask, yes, we're going to be putting the bigger number on top, the one that has more on top. How much more cloth is needed for a woman's dress? Well, put that woman's dress on top then. Minus 2 2/7. Now from here, it's going to work a lot like the problems that we've been doing. You have two possible choices here. You can go ahead and turn this into improper fractions and subtract, but at least from what I'm seeing in class, a lot of you seem to really prefer splitting the whole number and the fractions apart, focusing on just the fractions, finding a least common multiple, least common denominator, which in this case will be 14, and then just rewriting equivalent fractions. 2 times something is 14, 2 times 7. 1 times 7 is 7. So 1/2 is equivalent to 7/14, the same way that 7 times 2 made 14. Multiply that times the numerator. 2/7 is equivalent to 4/14. And we can see the subtraction here should be pretty straightforward. 7 minus 4 is 3. 14 stays the same, we know that. Now we can just subtract over here. 4 minus 2 is 2. Okay. Combine these two things together, put them together. Thank you, pencil. And our final answer, the difference between the woman's dress and the girl's dress is 2 3/14 yards. Make sure you put your units on there. Okay. We'll box up our answer. You always want to make it easy for your teacher to see. Box up your answer, and there we go. How much more cloth is needed for a woman's dress? 2 3/14 yards. Okay. We'll go ahead and do one more, but I'm going to try to use some of the information from up top. So, excuse me, looking at wow, pencil, all right, we'll play it that way. Looking at problem number 2. Okay. Now, I am going to have to slide all of this off, but you have it written on your paper to refer back to, so please make sure that you do. Using the information above, how much cloth would be used to make 2 girls' dresses and 1 woman's dress. We'll say that Mrs. Landre is going to make a dress for her and a matching dress for my 2 daughters. Using the information above, how much cloth would be used to make 2 girls' dresses and 1 woman's dress? Well, again, the information is above. It should be on your paper. But we'll go ahead and relist. What do we know? We know that a woman's dress will take 4.5 yards of material, 4.5 yards of cloth. We know that a girl's dress will take 2 3/7 yards. How much cloth would be used to make 2 girls' dresses, so 2 of these and 1 of those? Now, I know for a lot of you, you're not gonna need to do this all the time. But just for fun, I'm going to set it up. I'm going to show you kind of what it would look like as an algebra expression. Okay? Don't panic. If I'm making two girls' dresses, that would be girl plus girl, right? And then I'm making a woman's dress, so plus W. Now I know what each of these is equal to. I know that the girl's dress is 2. I'm going to write it a little smaller. Make sure we have room. 2 3/7 plus another 2. I'm sorry, I keep writing 3/7. Goodness. Let's fix that. It is 2 2/7. That's the information from above, 2 2/7. So those of you who are looking at the video and wondering what I'm doing, yeah, I goofed. Let's fix that. 2 2/7 for the first girl's dress, there's Emily's, plus 2 2/7, there's Virginia's, those are my two daughters, plus 4 1/2 for Mrs. Landre, for my wife. We need to combine all of these together. Now, I started adding because I was combining things, right? How much cloth would be used to make these dresses and one woman's dress? And is not always a clue word, but in this case it is. We see that we're combining things. And we can go ahead and just write this vertically. 2 2/7 plus 2 2/7 plus 4 1/2. Now hopefully nobody is at home going, oh no, there's 3 mixed numbers, what do I do? It's the same thing. We'll separate. We'll look at the fractions first. And because we're using the same numbers, we already know what these equivalent fractions are. We know that 2/7 turned into 4/14. We'll just do that twice. We know that 1/2 turned into 7/14. Go ahead and add that together. 4 plus 4 is 8. 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15 14ths. Oh no, it's improper. What do we do? Well, the denominator tells us we need 14 pieces to make a complete set. If I have 15 pieces, I will take out one of the 14s and make a whole. Now, when I take out one of the 14s, if I take 14 away from my 15 pieces, I only have one left. That is not enough to make another set. So my improper fraction has turned into a mixed number. 2 plus 2 is 4, plus another 4 is 8. So when I add my whole numbers together, that's pretty straightforward. And then I just add these pieces together. I combine these pieces. 8 plus 1, 8 wholes, plus 1 whole is 9. There are no fraction pieces to add other than this one, so I just bring that one straight down. Okay. So the answer to the question, and I'll slide back up a little so we can read it. How much cloth would be used to make 2 girls' dresses and 1 woman's dress? 9 and 1/14 yards. Box it up for the teacher. You know how much I love that. And you're set. Okay. With word problems, it is super important to make sure that you include the unit, yards, how much cloth, this many yards of cloth. It's also very important, again, go back, read the question one final time, and make sure that you actually answered it. Nothing is more frustrating than working through a problem, getting an answer, feeling good about it, and then realizing, oh, I'm only halfway through. How much cloth would be used to make 2 girls, 1, 2, and a woman's dress? 1. We added that together. Our answer is complete. This is good. All right, we'll go ahead and stop there. Again, I know this is a little different than what we normally do, but when I see you in class, we're going to spend a lot more time going through word problems, solving them together in groups, and working a little independently. So be prepared. All right, ladies and gentlemen, that'll do for now. I will see you in class.